to my almost usual Friday, Saturday live. I think the light is not the best for me right now. Yeah. And I don't like this light. Here we are. So hello again for the next stream of Saturday art stream. I'm gonna be sketching flowers, and why flowers? Because I'm gonna have an exhibition of flowers, and thank you. I'm going to have an exhibition of flowers next week. The exhibition will be in Paris next to the Picasso Museum. So if you are going to be in Paris, please come and say hello. I will be with exhibited with Clem Chambers, who is Chill Bill on a YouTube. We'll present our joint artwork series called Blue Boy and Red Boy, and it will be inspired by Paris and the flowers, so the beautiful subjects. So please come and see us. And I am going to do some drawings and paintings of flowers again, because as it is flowers, I'm doing flowers today almost every day, both drawings and paintings. So yeah, let's start a little bit of paintings. I will probably do today ink drawing and charcoal drawing, but maybe I will do some paintings as well. So today's model is a little chrysanthemum. So this beautiful chrysanthemum. Oh, they have flower pops. So beautiful chrysanthemum flowers. Oh, even though it is a little bit autumn flowers, but apparently they're selling them in January. So we'll do it. Hello, Green Dragon. Happy New Year! Happy New Year to you too. So this will be my first model, and the second model will be these amazing roses. And why they're amazing is because they are already with me for a week, which usually very strange, because usually when you buy roses, they're quite pretty fast out of this form and shape. But I was very lucky, and as I'm going to have a lot of rose still lifes in my next exhibition, these babies will be one of my inspiration today. Yep. Let's hope it's not full, not nothing full. What I want to tell also is that next stream will be next Saturday. Will be probably around maybe 3 or 4 p.m. Paris time, and that will be the stream directly from the exhibition, because the exhibition will be open on Saturday morning. So Saturday afternoon, please come, and I'll make a private tour on this beautiful show in a beautiful place in Paris, again next to the Picasso Museum. How lucky am I? So let's do some drawings. I'm using my favorite Japanese ink. I think it's professional ink, should be very, very thick. So normally I would put some water, but I like a very thick and very kind of dark color of it. So I just need to find Chinese brush. And let me see if you can see something. So I'll just pull a little bit here. Here we are. And so like this, everybody can see it. Let me read what you say. Yes, Green Dragon, I am about to put it online. So you will see the last stream as well. Yes, I will put it today with this stream. Yes, thank you for reminding me. Because it's going in a private mode, and I sometimes forget to be doing roses. So again, roses. And as I was advertising as well, some famous artists on the picture of my stream, I'll just tell about, I think it was in 2008, 2009. I was in the city of Marseille, which is in south of France, and I visited it because I needed to do some papers for my passport and stuff in the consulate. And so I visited the museum, the local museum, and they had an interesting exhibition of Van Gogh, which attracted my attention, and with the artist called Monticelli, Adolphe Monticelli. And Adolphe Monticelli, he was a artist from Marseille and Aix-en-Provence area. He was older than Van Gogh, but Van Gogh was very much inspired by him. And I don't think they ever met, but I think they had some letters they wrote to each other. So Monticelli, he was about, let's say, 60 years old, and Van Gogh was about 30, and so they exchanged couple of letters. And Van Gogh said that he was Monticelli was one of the biggest artists in his generation, or even like in the history of art. So Monticelli, he had this kind of very dark. He was painting a lot of flowers and bouquet, and it was a very dark. If you Google them, you will find them. But it was very rather perfect composition, and it was very interesting as a paintings. So Van Gogh was very much inspired, and he started painting flowers. So basically, Monticelli made him painting flowers. And so when I came to Marseille and I saw this exhibition, I was enchanted, but I didn't have a gut to start painting flowers. At that point, I was doing my torso series. I was doing some. What was I painting at that time? I was painting a lot of very basic still lifes with fruits and vegetables. So I never really put myself into the flowers, because flowers is rather difficult questions. You have to study them. You have to understand from where the leaves are going. What is the difference between rose and peonies? Because when you paint in sometimes roses, it look like peonies, and when you paint in peonies, it look like roses. So they have some very kind of particular feature every flower. So for audience, they will understand what we're painting. So like here, for example, I am painting roses. So the roses have this particular feature, which is like this green things next to the head of the flower. Then the petals, of course, has a little bit of like agglomeration, or has like there's a lot of petals in one petal, which is going then in the head. And then the leaves are very green and very kind of pointy. So here will be a lot of green leaves. So I will just do the dark uh, dark area here, and then I'll shape it up on the side. So I have 1, 2, 3 roses here, which I can see. Then I have quite a bit, 1, 2, 3, and 3 roses here. So I'll just do the top one here. So back to the Monticelli and Van Gogh. I think there is actually the book called Letters of Monticelli and Van Gogh. I have that book. I think I read a couple letters and then I ran out of time, but I will be doing it less. Anyway, I was very inspired by the flowers and the composition. And of course, Van Gogh started when he started painting uh, like Monticelli. He was a little bit dark, and then he started doing his very famous still lifes, which he continued doing it all his life, and it became very light and very all this kind of beautifully iridescent blue and green color with a little bit of pink and yellow. I was reminding about this because after that time I started paying attention more to this very strange artist, Monticelli, Adolphe Monticelli. And if you Google him and you go to the Wikipedia page of this artist, you will find out that um, the director of the, I think, Scottish Art Gallery once told that it's so ugly painted that he doesn't want in the walls of his museums, which is absolutely not true. His paintings are very unique and very strange and very kind in a way, because there's so many unkind art in this world that Monticelli is not the worst of it. And it's actually, his still life is very charming. It's very cozy. I sadly for now the flowers of Monticelli cost too much. I can't afford it. But if I could afford to have one for my art collection, I would love to have the Monticelli flowers on the wall. Anyway, Van Gogh was probably most uh, successful flower artist. after Monet. Of course, Monet did the most famous lilies and all the other flowers. I think Monet painted whatever flowers he found in his garden, and he had a very big garden was full of flowers, so he had some inspiration to get. So back to my one, I have to shape now a little bit of the leaves. So I'll just do a little bit of pay attention here, and then continue talking about Monet. So the pointy rose petals, I think I will put a little bit of darkness in the stem because they are dark green on these flowers. So I'll just accentuate a little bit this one, and then I'll put a little bit of leaves over here. And so back to Monet. So Monet did a lot of flowers, including his famous water lilies from his pond. So I'm going here to the vase, and my vase is also a very funny one. And also Monet did a lot of roses and spring flowers and like lilas and daffodils. Literally, I think he did painted every flower you can find in Europe. And also the Christmas was it Christmas rose, which I had a couple streams ago. I did Christmas rose, the very strange plant that they sell in Europe for a lot of money for Christmas time. And I was wondering why and what's happening with this flower, why it's so expensive, and people are so much loving buying it. And apparently, it's appeared to be, according to Wikipedia, that this flower, which is blooming in wintertime, it has some magic qualities that it helps the root. If you dig up the root and you put it in some soup or you drink something, it will improve your health. I didn't try it. I bought the flowers, I did painted it, and I planted it back in the garden. So let's hope that next year I will have another rose of Christmas. Anyway, back to my story of this rose, which I'm drawing from the real still like that. So here I have a very interesting vase. The vase has inspiration of corn, so it has a decoration of corn husk. So here is the and blue flower. So this is a blue flower and with a little bit of grass. And here is a kind of corn husk. And the corn husk, again, we're talking about the artist who did flowers and also like was inspired by the nature was wanted to say Hugh Grant, but no, it's Grant Wood. And you guys probably all knew and know his painting because he is the artist who created American Gothic, the painting of a woman and a man standing in front of their house, and the man has a was it like uh, I don't know how it's called, with one instrument from the garden and the woman with another. It's a very famous painting. I am pretty sure you all saw it at least once somewhere. So Grant Wood, he was an American artist who had a very funny story of life. So he was nobody from professional world believed in his art, but the sponsor of one art exhibition, art concourse, competition, he gave him a special prize, and that started his career. For his, I think, for his actually uh, for this painting American Gothic. And what happened afterwards? There was a war. I don't remember which war exactly it was. Maybe it was Second World War, and he had to go to the army. And being an artist, he was painting the net, and he was painting some paintings about the war, but also he was very much into the regionalism. Regionalism is kind of a movement all around the world through the probably centuries. It's when the artist stayed in his area and didn't go to this wonderful, glamorous art centers, like, for example, it was Paris in 19th century, New York in 20th century, and I don't know, Amsterdam in 1600s, but they stayed in their areas in Ohio or in Dallas or in Provence, like Cézanne did, and they did a local art scene, and they developed this art scene, being a very famous artist. And so Grant Wood, he actually was one of the biggest followers, or not followers, biggest establishers of this movement in America. And so he created, for example, a whole hotel, because he was commissioned to redecorate and repainted the hotel, and he created the whole hotel somewhere, I might be wrong, maybe Ohio, which was influenced, which was inspired by the corn. And so apparently he created like a lamps in the shape of corn, like wallpaper in corn, like curtains, like everything was in corn, like furniture. And sadly, I think it didn't survive, but I think it was a wonderful idea of his, and too bad it didn't survive, because I think it will be popular destination today. Anyway, the corn is now, when I see the corn painting, is always like, I remind the story about Grant Wood, who created a whole small world of the hotel full of corn. Anyway, so this is my vase has a corn. I'll show you in a second this vase. So it has like a leaves. I want a little bit of more contrast down in a vase, because I think vase is pretty spectacular as well as the roses. And this is pretty charming bouquet of the roses. So just continue a little bit of doing the rose. And I think I will do the rose is standing on a book, so I will do unexpected table. So I'll do like here going up, and then it's going down, and then it's going down. Because this is a book, it's not really a table. I have a, oh, I did a little bit of naughty things, but as Bob Ross said, there's never an accident. There's always happy, not nasty accidents, always happy accidents. So I have this one to sort out. So I'll just do this. And so instead of doing the stripes on the top, I'll do it on the bottom. There we are. And I probably will continue a little bit of here. And I don't like this part, so I'll just do a little bit of like that. And maybe I will do around this shape, I'll do a little bit of, okay, like this. Here we are. And the only thing is missing is my signature, which I will put probably over here. Here we are. Showing you the inspiration. So the corn vase with the roses. A little bit of corn inspired by wood and beautiful roses. So this one is going to my exhibition in Paris next week. I'm gonna drive in. I'm gonna drive in there actually tomorrow night, and I will be for a whole week in Paris before exhibition. Let me read now what's written there. Oh, you've been to Marseille, Green Dragon. Oh, 2023, recently. Yeah, it's a nice place now. I've been there. Yeah, thank you for the bus. Yeah, Marseille actually became very, very beautiful place after they did, I think, maybe it was 2011 when they celebrated like a big something like 500 years or something, and they totally rebuilt and renewed the port area, and they built this museum that called museum, and they updated city very well. When I was last time in Marseille, oh, it'd been a long time probably. I've been probably maybe 10 years ago. It was already shaping up and beautiful, but I think now it's like a very, very nice place to be, and also very tasty. I love the port area on the side of the Abbaye Saint Victoire. So not the side where is the museum and that Le Panier Hill, but the other one. And I always have their lunch with a view, and yeah, that's one of my favorite places. Well, now we're going to the next flower, which is chrysanthemum. So I have this wonderful pot of chrysanthemum. And also chrysanthemum was a big, it was a big inspiration for Monet as well. But I also like remember that probably one of my most favorite artwork of as a flowers is a very tiny paintings by Edouard Manet. So there was Claude Monet with water lilies and flowers and landscapes, and there was Edouard Manet, who are mostly famous for depicting people, like these odalisques and the boy with the flute, like the boy who having a flute here. But he also did a wonderful, wonderful series of very tiny, like probably this size, this singular flower in a glass pot. So there will be like a glass, and there will be just one rose or one clematis. Clematis is very beautiful. It's in Musée d'Orsay. So I always inspired by Manet. So when I have a big bunch, and I usually have a huge bunch of flowers to paint because I can't stop buying them, because you come into the florist and they have such an amazing colors and shapes and forms and everything, so you get a huge bunch of it. So when they start slowly degrading in my house, I cut them, I rearrange them, and I start painting them again. And then what I do, I reminded myself about Manet, and so when the last flower is there, I just put it in the glass and I just do one drawing of it. Speaking about, we can do it as well. So let me do the chrysanthemum, and then I'll do the one flower. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 6 flowers of chrysanthemum. And the chrysanthemum, from what I remember, because I did draw pretty many of them last autumn, they are like, they are not very simple flowers to draw, sketch, or paint, because they are pretty much having a lot of petals. So they're very unstructured. So this is one, and I have to say they have a bigger petals under it, so I'll just do the bigger petals there. And then here is another one, and here is another one, and another one, and another one. So these are the white with a little bit red dots on the top chrysanthemum. And so I will just do the third flower. Yeah, so when you paint the chrysanthemum, some chrysanthemum, they're looking like they're crocheted. They were crocheting, like, like you do crochet with the thread. So the chrysanthemum for me is like the very tiny crocheted pieces. And so I'm just crocheting with ink, and it should be flower at the end. So whatever I see, I just put it on a paper. And as I said, like I am touching the flower with my eyes, so I don't really, when I start painting, I don't know what I have to paint or what I have to draw. So I'm just imagining what it is. So here is a small leaf, which I can see, and then under it there is a small flower, which is like I barely can see. So I'll just do a little bit like this, and then we have a leaf, so which is absolutely different from the leaf of the roses. So it's very shaped in this kind of trefoils, trefoil. Oh, I don't know how it is called. Like a small leaf of maples, but tiny ones. And so I will try to make first a dark contrast because the flowers are pretty white. So with my black ink, everywhere the white has to be just seen with the contrast. So I'll just contrast them a little bit around, and I do the shape of leaves. So there's quite a lot of leaves, so many that I barely can see the stems. So I'm not going to put the stems in this flower, but I will do the leaves. And also this flower sometimes reminding me the drawing or cutouts. Actually, what does look the leaf of chrysanthemum? It's look like cut out of Matisse for his album The Jazz. Because if you remember, he was cutting out this kind of shapes and then putting in a random order, and he called it The Jazz, which is absolutely positive and lovely art book, probably made in history of art, because there wasn't as positive artist as Matisse was in the history of art of 20th century. Everybody was very dark, pessimistic, and brutal, when Matisse was all about light and color and shapes. So here is the leaves, and then I can see some leaf over here and go in here. I probably won't show this piece because chrysanthemum is not really a winter flower, or it's a spring flower, and I am presenting next week everything about spring and end of the winter. So here is a pot that I can see here. So I'll just do a little bit of, and there's a shadow of the pot I can see. So this will be like for me, for my, will be staying for next exhibition. Maybe in autumn I'll do the exhibition of it. So I'll do now the table. And then probably I'll do the stripes. So I think there's not enough ink. It's still going, but I will use a little bit more. Close up. Okay. Are you talking about the previous picture, or you talking about this picture? So if we're talking about the previous picture, let me show you again, and then I'll finish that one. So this picture. So this was my previous picture, which I just did 5 minutes ago. Roses on the table, initial on a book, but on a table with the vase inspired by Grant Wood. And this is what I'm finishing is the pot of chrysanthemum, and I am now finishing it with the stripes. But in fact, I will put probably the window because it's pretty much dark here, so the stripes will be just too much. So I'll just do the kind of window or frame. All right. 1, 2, and then go in here. I will put it in here. And if it's frame, okay, I'll put here. I think it's pretty much looking very classical still life from the classical times when Poussin was around and when he did something. So I think I will leave like this because I think it's pretty strong lines. The only thing, I'll sign it, and that will be the finish of this one. Here we are. Ta-da! So let me show you the model again. This is the model, and this is the portrait. Thank you. Thank you, Green Dragon. Here we are. So what I will do again is I will do another another bunch of roses, but from the different perspective. I think there is another. In fact, probably you didn't see that, but I did previously another drawing, and this is a drawing of what's the name of these flowers? Carnations. So I probably did it last week. Yeah, I did it last week. I think for last stream I did it. So I'm going to go to the fresh page up, and I'll try to do another rose with another brush. And what I do, I'll put it on the floor so I'll have a different perspective. Because in fact we can do many different pictures with the same flowers, because I can just put them in a different way. So I will see it from upside down, or from down up, or like on the left or on the right. So it's always versatile. Okay, so what I will do is I'll change my brush, and I'll use a little bit of water. Because I think I have a lot of ink there, but it's very fat ink, so it's going pretty fast from the bottle. So now will be that time which Bob Ross was saying about happy little accidents. So probably because there's excess of water, it will be a little bit like this. So what I can see, the roses are very tiny, but it will be in a very interesting composition. So I'll do it in this way. So there is one flower here. It's opened a little bit very strangely, so it doesn't really look like a classical rose. So I'll do the petal. Then it has this green on the head collar. Let's call it collar. Actually, I don't know the name of it. So there's another rose, which is also a little bit opened in a very strange way. Here are, and then there's another roses, which is a little bit like that, and it has this kind of thing. And then I'll have another one here, and another one here. These roses are very tiny, and they're not opened widely, and I guess they won't, because this type of very small and not really fat roses. So this one was an open one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how I'm painting. I'm counting because I need to calculate the place on the paper where I'm going to put all the roses. So here is a petal, one petal, and this is more open. So this is another petal, and this petal has a little bit opening here as well. And again, green and green. And then here is more classic rose. So it will be much more easier to paint. It has a lot of unopened petals. And here is another tiny rose, half opened. So we'll do this way. And here is 2 more roses. So one more traditional one. And here is more strange one. Here are half open. By the way, if you have your favorite rose painting, tell me which one is that. I will be happy to look at it later. I guess roses were rather expensive flowers, because there are many roses in the history of art, but they were not popular among the artists if the artist would like to depict the flower rose by himself, because I guess they will cost a little bit of money. So here I have to put a little bit of green leaves because there are many of them. And also the flowers are pink. So if I put a little bit of darkness around each flower, we will see it actually. So I will put a little bit more leaves here and more darkness. And here is a lot of leaves going this way because of course I'm watching from different perspective. And so I can see the different leaves going down. I almost not seeing any vase. So I'm just like doing the vase here because I don't see it at all because there is all the leaves because I'm watching it from upside down. Oh, small little accident. All like we like it. And I think it might go further. So we'll see how it's going. So here leaf and here is a little bit of leaf here. And I'll put a little bit of darkness around this one. Up, I can see the runny ink, which I don't need it to be so much. That's when it's excess of water. I just put the drop of it, but it's just in a drop of water and my ink wanted to run away. So this is the vase, which I barely can see. So I'll just mention it with a line. And then because I'm watching it from the different perspective, so I will do the very strange, maybe for everybody, perspective of the table. So I'll go like this. This is a table. Uh, so it's going up, up, up over here, and it's finishing here, and it's like that. So then to show you that this is a table, I'll just put from here, from the corner, I'll go down here. And like this, you will see that this is a table. And what I will do also, I'll create a small tiny window here. So we'll see the size of the table and on the flowers. So the window will be half open, so it's will be open outside. And here I'll open a little bit more, so we won't see it really anything. And I'll do the window sill here. And then maybe a little bit of landscape outside. And what I will do more is I will do maybe the wall and maybe I'll just do the line of the wall here and here. And then I'll just put the lines of here of the table so we'll see the where are they going. So I'll just put the line over here. Don't really see that where's the paper end, so it's going to be a little bit wabi-sabi. Here we are. And the only thing I have to finish is with the signature. I love daffodils, and in fact, as we are coming into the we're coming into the season of daffodils. I actually got today a bunch of it. They're not open yet, but I got them in the shop. So I'm gonna be sketching and painting them for my upcoming exhibition next week in Paris. So yes, I love daffodils, and actually I will show you now some of my paintings. I'll do a pretty ink all around my hands. So I'll finish with my signature here. I'll need another brush. Here we are. Hope I didn't put too much ink everywhere. So there's no dribble for now. So ink. I'll try to show with a little bit of attention because it's gonna dribble. So this is the roses. Hopefully nothing dribble. This is our roses from different perspective. And what I will do now is I'll show you a preview of my exhibition. Speaking about daffodils, wait a second. I need to put it flat. So daffodils. And here we are. So this is, I will do this viral YouTube, TikTok things. So, you know, when the artist showing you the art. Here we are. This is daffodils. I think there's a bit of light behind. I cannot really turn it off. Or maybe I can. Let me try. So these are one of my paintings that going to be in exhibition. Up. Let me see if they will be much better with this light. Here, maybe it's a little bit better. So this is my daffodil painting. It's a very large painting. I painted it a few years ago, and since then I was painting daffodils every season when the daffodils are around. So another paintings that are coming to Paris for this exhibition is these ones. So these are the flowers, wild flowers. And I painted this painting when I was in Palo Alto. I actually used to kind of live for a couple months in Palo Alto. And so it was beautiful autumn and I was buying the flowers. And this is from that series. It came from my studio from California because I shipped it back about a year ago, 2 years ago. And so that was one. No, this is not from there. This was another one from California, and which is going to Paris as well. I'm just watching how does it look like. So this is another one with a yellow flower and blue oysters. Was painted also probably in autumn. And yeah, I guess this was from my Californian studio because in 2019 I had a exhibition of flowers in California, and so probably this one was not actually part of it. It was afterwards when I came back and I started painting more flowers. This is one of the paintings that I created also in California. And yeah, 2019, the last time I've been working in California as an artist, and it's came back from California and going to Paris. And another one is so I'm trying to see. So this one, uh, this painting is probably one of my favorites. It's actually I painted it in France. I don't remember which, maybe a year ago or 2 years ago. And it's just very large and very structured, and that's what I'm thinking the contemporary still life has to look like. So has to have beautiful flowers but also very contemporary. So when you put it on the wall you can see that this is a painting from 21st century, not from 20th century or 19th or 18th century. So that's my output on a contemporary still lifes. Another one is this is one of my first paintings of roses. It was created for the exhibition in Newport Beach, California, and it was shown there once. And then it was shipped here with all my studio equipment. So it's yellow roses, and I had red roses because I had a friend who was interior designer, who is a interior designer, who actually moved me towards the flowers, and she told me to paint flowers, and she did my first exhibition of it in California. So thank you, Judy. Appreciated. Flowers that coming to Paris. So another flowers are roses. And roses. I think I might painted these two at the same time because they very look similar to me, similar aesthetics. So I also what I did is, and it's became part of my kind of style is I paint in oil and then afterwards I do the lines at that time with a charcoal. and flowers sometimes with the charcoal. So the flowers are kind of sketched with the charcoal, so you can see the raw, kind of earthy feel of the flowers and the table. And yeah, it's became one of the signature. Mind you, it's very difficult to transport the charcoal and very difficult to fixate it on the on the material like a toile. It's a canvas. So I afterwards I start doing black ink on the top of it. But here's another one from the same probably era. So again, charcoal and oil on a canvas. And this one were done for Newport Beach show. Yes, it was done for that time. And it's again going to Paris for the exhibition. Exhibition, actually, I'll show you the bunch of invitations that I've got for my friend. This is invitations for the party, opening party. And the exhibition is called Quai of Fleurs, which is a very famous quay in Paris on the island of Cité, which is famous for its flower market, flower and birds market. And until today, you can go there and buy some flowers and birds and I don't know, rats and hamsters and stuff like that. And that's historical name Quai of Fleurs. And also, I've been working in a Quai Fleur for many years. It is my Parisian studio there. And also there was famous painting painted by famous French Japanese artist Fujita called Quai aux Fleurs. And then also the fashion brand Hermes, they have a special scarf, Hermes scarf called Quai aux Fleurs. So it's a very popular name. So I decided there's such a name that connects to me, connects to my subject of flowers. I should use it for my exhibition as a name. So it's a wonderful name for it. I'll just have a read. Thank you, Green Target. Which is your favorite flower? Meanwhile, I'll show another one. Yeah. So here are two very large scale, as you can see, very large scale. I hope they will fit in a screen. I think the mobiles are smaller than my paintings, so I'll try to get. Ooh, can we see it all? Roughly. So these are the painting of tulips. Tulips in a big pot. And it's very funny because tulips for me is a spring flower. Okay, maybe end of February flower, beginning of March. But in France these days, everything is moved. So in fact, they started to sell tulips normally mid-January, like somewhere now. Yeah, somewhere now will be tulips. But in fact, I think I did bought a bunch of tulips already in December because I did paint it and sketch them in December. So yeah, it was in December. So, but still for me, tulips will be kind of the bird of spring. And so this wonderful painting, which I absolutely love and adore, and I think it also has to be a kind of how the still life flower still life has to look like in 21st century. So white, bright, positive colors, something that you want to have on your wall, and it uplifts you every day when you wake up and you watch it and you think it's a wonderful day. That's what I'm trying to achieve with my flower series, because in such a dark and gloomy times we live in today, I think that's what missing in our museums all around the world. Because honestly, being an artist, I love going to museums, and I am a museum junkie. I go to every museum of art all around the world. But honestly, these days, I am kind of very checking carefully what they're showing, because not everything I can adjust, digest, and enjoy. So I definitely, if it would be not me and I would have an exhibition in museum with these flowers, I definitely will go there. And oh yeah, that's a very strange still life. This is the still life, I think, of carnations. Let me see if you can see it. Yeah. So this one is probably one of my very, very, very first one. It's a um, it's a still life before I was flower still life before I discovered my series of flowers, and I discovered that there was a composition of Dutch masters and Pompeii masters, because the story was that first my friend Judy, the American interior designer who commissioned from me the exhibition of the flowers for her show, and I did it and I enjoyed it much. And then I started researching how the Dutch masters did their still lifes, which composition they did. So I've got lots of books on the history of art, and I start drawing and sketching and researching the composition of the flowers and all these beautiful 16th century, like, you know, tulip arrangements. They are all kind of having the same structure, composition of the flower pots. They have different flowers, they have different fruits, different insects, birds on the still life, but they are all the same. And so I started my series Flowers. Then I started the series called New Dutch Masters, because the golden age of still life was called the Dutch Masters. And I thought, okay, well, I will be the new Dutch master, not in Denmark, not in Holland. Then in 2019, yeah, or 2019, 2019, for first time, I went to Naples and to Pompeii. And then what I discovered is that all that wonderful, fabulous still lifes of Dutch masters from 1500s, 1700s, all their composition and shapes and forms, they were all basically they took all the inspiration from the Pompeii masters. So all I started painting the flowers and the seafood and lobsters and everything, fruits, and called the series the Pompeii masters, because after Pompeii my life totally changed as an artist. I bought all the books on the Pompeii art, including 19th century and other ones. And I think the Taschen had a wonderful book on Pompeii. And I researched all, I don't know, like, I don't know, 100 of still life from Pompeii and all the compositions. And now I'm applying it to my still lifes and my art as a still life art. And I think being appreciative artists and appreciate the work of other artists, I appreciate now my art as well, because I think I am achieving something very interesting, and hopefully 21st century will have a different art than one that we can see right now in the contemporary art museums. Let me have. You even visited Louvre. Wonderful. What was your favorite subject in Louvre? What did you see in Louvre? Yes, write me there. I will show you another one. I can see something very, very interesting in other still lifes that I'll bring to show. So here is another art pieces that are going to Paris for my exhibition. So again, this is much smaller. So I'm doing the TikTok viral move. Ta-da! I don't know if you can see it. Here we are. So these one are also autumn flowers and also from US. And these flowers I painted in a place called Tallahassee. And if you never heard about Tallahassee, it's in fact, it's a capital of Florida. So I spent, I think, also a month or two in Tallahassee, and I was painting a lot of landscape, wonderful landscape. It's such a surrealistic landscape they have there. And I was also buying flowers, and I was doing the still lifes there. And the funny story is that I don't know how, but I end up with a very thick, this is called 2 centimeter board, which I never really used, because I don't know why. Why I didn't use it? I think it's a very new fashion, or used to be fashion about 20 years ago, this kind of very thick thin. I'm more classical one. I think what I know why, because it's take twice space in your storage and in your delivery, and also the frame behind the painting is very thick and heavy, so you can see how thick it is. So as a professional artist, you just like, it's too expensive for you to do this kind of things. Very expensive to buy it. Second, it's very expensive to deliver it. Third, it's very expensive to keep it. So I usually have a normal one just to show you what is normal one. So this is normal. This is the big ones. So you can see the difference. So another one that is going to Paris is tulips, because it is a springtime, and tulips is something that I think everybody needs tulips right now to have a little bit of spring inspiration. And here is another painting from Palo Alto era. So irises. And I know that everybody, when you type the famous painting of irises, it's always come up the irises by Van Gogh. But I would say when I was painting irises, I always thinking not about Van Gogh, but about somebody who Van Gogh was inspired by. And this is the Japanese artist. Names are not my big thing. So if you type irises Japan Nezo Museum, that will be it. That's the biggest, probably most famous irises from 1700s, I think 1700s, and they're beautiful. I saw them, they taken out to the public, this painting every spring, end of mid-April till mid-May. And I was very lucky to be in Japan, I think twice or three times at that time. So I think each time I come, and if I have chance, I go there and I'm watching them. And it's just an amazing, an amazing experience to see them. And they also planted a lot of irises in the park of the museum, so it's also very, very beautiful. So if you're ever in Japan in April, you must see this painting. Let me see what it is. You can't remember. Well, I have to tell you about the Louvre, because I love all museums. It depends on like what it is. I think, yeah, I won't tell you which one I don't like. I only maybe don't like maybe one only museum in Paris. All others I love. And Louvre, yes, love, love, love. I'm a whatever member sponsor, whatever of the Louvre. So I just love going when I'm in Paris there. My favorite is those prehistoric pre-Greek, like Cichlid ceramic arts. And then I very, very love the Spanish hall. So when you pass, I think that classical corridor, when you go to Mona Lisa here, and then you pass there, and you end up in the, a little bit going upstairs, in Denon area, and then there will be all the still lifes. Well, I love still life. So there will be Spanish still life, there will be El Greco, there will be Chardin. There's like a wonderful hall of Chardin. It's a little bit tricky to find them, but it's really fun to see them. It's very beautiful. Another side, I very love the German arts, like German middle, maybe Renaissance arts. It's also on the side, I think it's Denon, and you go inside, and it's just the first steps after you go with the ticket through the security, or not security, there, whatever, they check the tickets. Yeah, that's probably one of my things. Maybe you probably saw Gioconda. So when you go into Gioconda to Mona Lisa, you pass in also the hall of Giotto and Masaccio. That's a wonderful one as well. And of course, the classical one, when you go in towards Mona Lisa, this huge hall with all the Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Arcimboldo. It's just, of course, it's a masterpiece. It's the best museum in the world. So nobody can say something else. So yeah, maybe I'll remind you something with with this kind of navigation. I do love walking in Louvre. In fact, when you know Louvre, you understand it's not as big as people think it is. It is big, yes, it is huge. But in fact, when you're outside and you see this huge building, It's actually only central part of it is Louvre where you can access something. All the other ones are offices, and because they have like a restoration offices. Louvre is a city inside the city, so they have a school of Louvre where they teaching people. They have special restorers, people who specializing on different arts, professor and everything. So one actually course, so 1 yard is for those people, then 1 yard with a pyramid is for us, for people to watch it. And then the other part, which is like a one leg going into Italy, it's actually a museum of decorative art. So Louvre is not as big as people think it is, but it's pretty big. Yes, of course, if you first time, you will be pretty tired to go around. Let me show you another paintings. So here is another painting that is going to Paris. These are also one of my favorite flower, which is peonies. And peonies are very diverse flowers. They can be very small, and then they have very beautiful and big. And then sometimes there are such peonies that are not looking like peonies. So if you're ever in France in May and you're in Paris, I highly recommend you, instead of going to Giverny to see Claude Monet garden, because it's very touristic and it's so painful to be there because there are too many tourists, too many regulation. It's just like you are in a Disneyland, trapped in the lines of people to get in. So I've been in Giverny actually recently, didn't enjoy it. So I'm giving another hint. If you ever in May in France, in Paris, just take a train to the first station. It's 50 minutes out of Paris in train, and it's called Le Mans. And from Le Mans, you take a bus or I don't know, even taxi to the place called Chateau de Sourches. Chateau de Sourches, it's a absolutely magnificent private chateau. It's quite big. It's, I think, from 1700s. And in the wood of this chateau, around the chateau, there is a big wood which has no water anymore, probably for a long time. The owner of the chateau, the current owner of chateau, she planted the biggest collection of peonies in the world. So in May, when all the peonies are in bloom, she opened the chateau, and you can walk around and you can read all these names of these wonderful flowers, and just smell them. You cannot touch them, but you can go there and you see there in this the palace furniture, which is like garden furniture around, and they open a small cafe and you can have a small coffee there, and it's just like very beautiful and wonderful experience. So if you ever in France in May and you're around Paris and you want to see something amazing and experience something amazing, peonies, which these are the flowers. Actually, I think these one were given me by the owner of that chateau. So I did the still life from there. And maybe this year, actually, as I'm doing now streams, I'm trying to keep up with the streams every week. Maybe I will walk you guys this year with me. We'll visit the Chateau de Sourches when they're going to be flowers in May. Maybe, hopefully April, because I think in May I'm in Japan, so probably I will show you Japan. So this was a series of 2020. No, so that was, I thought I was doing it in Japan. No, I actually did this in Europe. So I did a series of roses with the view. So here you have a bunch of roses. And at the back, I always put some landscape. So here is the landscape of the village called Dolce Acqua. It's in Italy, it's in Liguria, not far from here. And it has this wonderful Dolce Acqua broken castle from, like, I think medieval castle. And probably some of you, if you're fans of Claude Monet, Claude Monet did painted a very famous painting of Dolce Acqua, and with this view. And when you visit Dolce Acqua, they have exactly this view in plastic on plastic board just in front of this bridge, and then there is a castle. So yeah, it's a very beautiful place, and famous by Claude Monet. And I think so 2000, I was 4 3 2, maybe 2002 or 2003. There was an exhibition of Claude Monet in this castle. They actually managed to secure it and to put one of the paintings from this area. And the other one was, it was like a 3 places. So it was Bordighera, Dolce Aqua, maybe it was in Monaco. So there was 3 exhibition in the same time about Claude Monet visiting Liguria and Riviera, and he created, I think, about 20 works, and it's all wonderful works. I saw some of them. It's just, they are very, very beautiful. So this is about Dolce Aqua. So if we go in next, just a few more paintings, and I'll be finishing this frame. So there is this unconventional size. So look at the size of the painting. So I started doing this size called marine, because in fact you have to paint it like that. So like, oh, look how big it is. But I saw something that inspired me a lot. And I think it was about 2018. I was in London in a National Art Gallery, and they had an amazing exhibition about Australian Impressionists. I never heard about Australian Impressionists, but there were 3 people who came to France who were inspired by the movement of Impressionists at the end of 19th century. They came back to Australia and did a wonderful, absolutely wonderful paintings. I don't remember names of these guys, as names are not my big strength. But if you type Australian Impressionists, I'm pretty sure you can find them. And what they did a very interesting landscapes and still lifes on the cigar boxes, which were this kind of very long, very thin, and they did painting inside it. And I thought it was like absolutely wonderful, because the landscapes usually is the landscape, right? This is what we call the landscape. This is portrait, this is landscape. So the landscape, they did landscapes vertically. And I thought, how come I didn't came up with the idea to do landscapes vertically? Because of course, initially when we say landscape, we painted it like this, because of course landscape has to be a landscape, right? But since I adopted this system of painting landscapes in a format of portrait, which is like this kind of very long, very thin, I always say you always have a space to put it around next to your fridge somewhere, because there's always space long like this. You can not put anything except my painting. So I started adopting this size of the marine landscape, kind of very long landscape canvases for still lifes as well. And so this is the roses, very long roses, and very thin. I will just Chêne Renoir. I don't know what Chêne Renoir. And here is a very long, tall still life with 3 roses. Speaking about 3 roses in one glass pot. And as I said, this is a marine size. So the marine size is a much wider size of the landscape. So in the canvas structure of Europe, we have portrait size, landscape size, and marine size. So this is the marine size, which is longer. So there is another one, which is I recently actually finished. There's always something that is unfinished at the artistic studio, and it's sometimes standing there for years. And this was one of these still lifes. So I probably started it maybe last year, maybe a year before. I don't remember even. And it was standing and standing. And then I thought, okay, well, I have a flower exhibition. I should finish some of my paintings. And so this is one I finished last week. So I started, don't even remember when. I don't remember where this vase is. So not sure if it was even here. But I finished it last week. So it's a tulip with some blue round shaped flowers. Another painting is another tulips. So my famous stripes and the square vase. In fact, 2021. In fact, I do remember this vase. I very like the square vases, glass vases for my still lifes. And I'm pretty sure I broke them. So sadly, I don't have them anymore. So I need to update them. But I think square vases are not anymore in fashion. I didn't see it in the... Oh, thank you. Aussie names. Shane Renoir. Something like this. Maybe a little bit more Australian. Let me see what I wanted to show. A few more. These are I just took something here. Like this I showed, this I showed, this I showed, this I showed. So I think I didn't show the small one. So these are the one that I didn't pack yet. So this is a very small, tiny sunflower landscape, sunflower still life. And it's very interesting about the sunflowers. Of course, Van Gogh is the top sunflower artist, but in fact, every artist probably in the history of art, they were trying to get into the challenge. You know, there was ice bucket challenge. I think every artist who ever painted any still life, they are in the challenge of doing the sunflower. And so that was one of my paintings of this challenge. I'm joking, there's no challenge, but yes, I'm challenging the old masters for the sunflowers, and I figure out that it's the sunflowers is just a big brown blob inside and a bigger yellow blob outside, and I start adopting this system. So of course I sometimes paint in every petal, and it takes some time, and then it's not looking like I wanted it to look, and it's not looking really like a sunflower. So I am trying and forcing myself always to get the sunflower in this shape and form and this color, because inside is not really black, it's kind of brownish. So I try to do these sunflowers as much as I can. I think I'm gonna have pretty maybe 3 or 4 different pieces on sunflowers in my exhibition. So please log in next week and like, subscribe my video as well. And next week, you will be one of the first people to see my exhibition mounted on the wall of the famous gallery in Paris. So, yeah, I guess I did a preview on the exhibition. We did some work today, and I will say goodbye for today. And please stay tuned for next week, because next Saturday I will say hello to all of you from the gallery in Paris, and it will be just before the opening of exhibition. So I'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you for being with me.